not a just observation point of view, but as a real result. And this is the basis of any extrapolation of your decision making.
So perhaps, so Walid,
yeah.
so future?
It's really hard, but what I see on the field is that I see a lot of potential automation. So there will always be the human in the loop, but a lot of the things that I see on specific industrial processes, honestly, for example, maybe 70 to 80% could be done by an algorithm embedded in a machine that could automatically put the right parameters. And we are at the beginning of this journey, and clearly OCP is not like we are not trying to automate as much as possible, but I can see that some people will on specific industrial processes will automate a lot of the stuff. So that's what I see. I don't know if it's really a happy future, but this is the reality of what I observed.
Okay.
Well, in my sense, there are three aspects. Some people, to define Industry 4.0, they link it to energy transformation. So we moved from the animals to mechanization, and then we discovered the oil, and then we discovered the electricity. Maybe the next revolution will be quantum computing, or else maybe the nuclear fusion. Okay, if we link Industry 4.0 to energy transformations, this is one aspect. Another aspect, I think that the scientific and technical questions will be overcome. In fine, they will take more or less time, but they will be overcome because of the technological innovations and progress, and we are doubling the computing ability and capability each 2 years, and it will continue. So in fine, technical and scientific problems will be overcome. And this will raise another kind of questions, which are more ethical and philosophical and metaphysical. We are able to come to a definition about what is intelligence, but what is a living system? And where do we put is there a frontier between an intelligent and a living system? And is a living system, does it bring new kind of intelligence or a new kind of wisdom maybe? This is the kind, and then ethics. Now we are talking about regulating AI. So AI will raise, and ChatGPT, for example, we have students who use ChatGPT to generate thesis, for example. This means that we need to put more focus on ethics. Ethics in engineering, ethics in doing business, ethics in generating science and knowledge. I believe that AI is not a threat to jobs, because the question was raised. It is absolutely not a threat. It is like when in the 60s we invented the computer. Okay, or earlier in the 1920s we invented the automobile. People who used to take a horse and to drive people just changed from the job. They become taxi drivers. And the computer created new jobs. And Instagram and Facebook created Instagrammers, new job that was not known before the 2000s. AI will create new jobs, and it will transform our abilities to do jobs. And AI will force humans to acquire new capabilities and abilities and skills and competencies which will raise the level of knowledge and the level of thinking. That's my conviction.
Okay, thanks a lot. So perhaps we can take question now from the room. They are very quiet. So last question. Oh, question from the room. Okay.
No, we're talking a lot about technologies. I don't know if it works. Whatever. And I would like to know, we're talking about Industry 4.0 and so on and so forth, and we're here in a room with a lot of students. I would like to know, how do you see Morocco being able to generate technologies and being not only consumer of technologies, but also producer of technologies for Industry 4.0?
Perhaps,
I have an opinion on this question. So the whole vision of UM6P actually is that because OCP is one of the biggest industrial players of Africa, so historically OCP was a consumer of technology. Like we are using the technology of producing fertilizers, of transforming phosphate into phosphoric acids and so forth. And the idea is that we use this technology so we are well positioned to know a certain number of industrial problems that we see and that we observe on the field. And so OCP built a university to try to first solve these issues that OCP sees. So for example, the energy production issue, the optimizing or the fertilizing production reaction issue. First to solve this issue for OCP, and then to use all the ecosystem of entrepreneurship into UM6P to build startups and to build new companies to sell these technologies for other countries. So actually, this is the reason why I joined UM6P. So it's to, for example, on some specific use cases that we developed at OCP, how can we use these use cases and found startups and found new companies around these technologies and these IP, and sometimes it's IP, sometimes it's not, it's a whole debate. But so we are at the beginning of the journey, but honestly, this is the vision behind. So the vision of the chairman and of Hicham El Habti and everyone is really to try to solve OCP problems, build IP, then sell this IP to the outside, and to reverse the phenomenon.
So Alain?
Merci. Thank you for the delightful discussion. As far as I could understand, Industry 4.0 has been described mainly in technological terms. Do you think, does that mean that according to you, it might be too early to think Industry 4.0 in terms of times when there is some kind of convergence between realities and virtualities, or at least a blurring of the frontier? Thank you.
Antonio?
Well, I would say that it's not too early. It's already, we can see this result here, some of them. So I'm not saying that this is too early. I'm saying that this is already evolving to Industry 5.0 if we understand 4.0 in terms of these, let's say, not necessarily intelligent systems, but just automatic systems. So when you link productive devices or devices in general, industry, the way of using this with a computer, but the computer has not the power to decide or to suggest decisions. We are, at least from my point of view, we are probably in the area of 4.0. When we add these decision-making capabilities and we have to introduce humans for making this, we are probably in the next step that maybe it's too early to say that it's 5.0 because 4.0 was just a few years ago. But this is the way, yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Hello. So thank you for your presentations. As a startupper that we're working in the AI and 4.0 field, we face some problems like the access to market, especially in Morocco and Africa. So the question here that we always face with those new companies that are not still not using AI or 4.0 is that what is the value added of this? And my question for you here, do you think that those companies that will adopt this AI or 4.0, would they adopt it for just a question of belief, or it's a question of financial clear added value? This is my question, because there is a huge difference between keeping technology in laboratories and taking this to the market and the African market, who doesn't really seem.
Yeah, honestly, I have an opinion on this subject. Before, I used to have my startup before joining OCP. I think for me as a startupper, if you come to an industrial and you say, I love a technology, I know a technology, and let me understand your problems, and eventually I will fix them, it's really hard, because the industrial guy has real problems he wants to solve. And so you need to position yourself as, I am able to solve this problem for you. I use AI, not AI. I use an Excel spreadsheet on the back end. It's not your problem, it's my problem, but I will solve your problem. So the thing is, but if you position yourself as, we are AI specialists, and because people don't understand exactly what AI means first, and so they have mental representations of AI, and they're not necessarily convinced that it can be really useful for them. And so, because I was in the position where startups were sending me emails, honestly, on a weekly basis, telling me exactly, we know AI, and so we can potentially solve your issues. And it was not the right approach, because, and even in my side, internally, I could do it at OCP because I was free, I was an employee. But I could tell them, okay, let me understand your problems. Maybe I can solve them, maybe not. If not, okay, I'm your colleague, so it's okay, let's work together. But if you are outside the company and you ask a guy to give you a lot of time and with a low probability that you're going to be able to solve his issue, it's hard. And so at least the good position is to say, we solve this specific issue for you. The optimization of the blasting and drilling for the phosphate mines, because we did it in another mine. And now we can talk, because the guy is reassured. But if you say, we are really good in this technology, in cloud technology, maybe you can need it, maybe not. And we are constantly approached by people like this, and it's not the right approach. In my experience, at least. I don't know if it can be useful for you, but this is what I saw.
It's true. This is what's usually happening.
Yeah.
I have a question about AI systems auditing. We know that auditing AI lacks right now some standardized processes, and I would like to share, if you can, your own experience in what processes did you follow to make, let's say, a standardized AI auditing system. As of now, we know that a lot of lacking in auditing AI systems can make of a lot of gaps between the systems and can create a safety issue.
In data science and data engineering and machine learning, the process of thinking tends to be standardized. How you approach your problem, okay, how you set your perimeter, your scope, how you approach it, it tends to be standardized. What is not standardized maybe is the specificities of the algorithm you use. For example, if you take, for example, a neural network, how many layers, how many perceptrons, how they are interconnected. And changing this will lead to changes in performance. And this is normal because it is a creative field, an innovative field, and scientists need to experiment. But how they think their problem, how they set it, what is the decisions, what are the variables, what are the data, it's kind of standardized process. We are not doing things arbitrarily. Otherwise it will lead to biases and it will lead to garbage in, garbage out.
I would add to this point that I totally agree that in this standardization process, the information, or more than the data, is what's important. And there are many standardizing initiatives at any level, from international standardizing organizations to control organizations and so on, to make processes, so the application of these tools following certain standards. There are control standards, there are planning standards, there are scheduling standards, and all these standards are the ones that the algorithms that are able to manage this are the ones that should adapt to this, because these standards are thought on the basis of the rational way of thinking of the humans, let's say, or the way how these problems have been solved when these artificial intelligence tools or these machine learning tools or these database tools were not still arising. And it's the only way that at this moment we are able to do. When this evolves more, probably these standards should be reconfigured in order to adapt this to the requirements of the information that is managed.
One of the key words, also, thanks for the remark, it's interoperability. Because when you have complex systems, these systems are made of components. For example, you have a factory, many machines. Machines could be provided by the different manufacturers. You have Toyota, you have Siemens, you have, and all of this need to work together. So each component generates data and consumes data and needs to be able to communicate with other components. And data scientists need to collect all of this data smoothly to make their algorithms. So one of the issues is interoperability. And interoperability needs standards. And so that you can put the data in the required format and you can exchange it fluently. And this all along the life cycle of the product, from the design to the development to the use to the disposal of the product.
Okay, so perhaps it's time to wrap up, so we can thank our participant and
thanks.
And see you tomorrow for this exciting event. Thanks a lot.